Geri donta geçişiwa Chashi tekyan dendir dele sho
karsavene Lama Tsongkhapa asked to Buddha wisdom, who is the embodiment of numberless Buddha's wisdom. What is the way to quickly actualize realization of the path to enlightenment on our heart? So Madhushi replied to 4 things. Purify the obstacles, the obscurations, the defilement, obscurations, purify obscurations. That is not in the West. Defilement, the obscurity of mind, like the foggy mind, the foggy mind, foggy clouds, foggy, the obscures to see the mountains, see the fogginess, so that obscuration is what I mentioned. Not mentioned the West means not mentioned science yet. The obscuration of the mind is so not mentioned. Yeah, so to realize. So as I said, mirror you clean more, a reflection comes. That means there's a power in that. There's a power there. Potential, so you more clean, more it comes reflection more clear, just like that it's the same to the mind, formless, colorless, shapeless, but it has that power. You have to understand. So the mirror, that's a very good example. It is power. So that's Buddha nature. So Buddha nature, the called the ultimate nature, the emptiness, the mind. What is the mind? Oh, that's So what is the mind? Not the mind which exists from its side, real mind, no. Which is believed to hold on to the real, no, not at all, not even body at all, it's a total hallucination. So what is mind is what is merely labeled by the mind. What is merely labeled by the mind, okay? You understand the reality because there's the world base, the world base, formless, colorless, shapeless, perceivable object, the world base. So because of that, so there's a world base, base to be labeled, so there's a base to label, because the label exists. Because there's a base to be labeled, so the label exists. So there's the mind exists. So that and the world mind to label. Oh, so that so that's nothing. The mind is nothing else other than what is merely labeled, merely accepted as merely labeled by the mind, because of that base. So therefore the mind is empty. Mind is empty from its own side. Mind is empty. Mind is empty of what appear to you wrong way, or you believe on or wrong way, or that's totally empty of that. Oh, that is the Buddha nature. So therefore, then more you purify obscuration, then comes out the realizations. The enlightenment comes out. You have to understand that. More you clean the mirror, more reflection, the city, the whole thing, it reflects. Like that. So there, so like that, you see. Potential there. Smell to the mind. So like that. So the cloth is not oneness with dirt. Cloth is temporarily obscured by dirt. So cloth is oneness with dirt. If the cloth is oneness with dirt, it's oneness with the dead. Oneness with the dirty. Dirt. Oneness with the cloth is not. If the cloth is oneness with the dirt, then you can't clean. You can't clean the dirt from dirt. You can't clean the caca from caca. So like that. So like that. So because the cloth is a temporary obscured, so you can wash, you can put soap, all things that you make completely clean. Yes. So otherwise you can't clean, you see. The dirt can be cleaned away from the dirt. So like that. So in the, that's Lama Tsongkhapa, yes, we explained, Buddha explained. So that, so same thing, the mind, see, in the West, it might seem like if you have the mind, then it has to have attachment, it has to be anger, attitude, ignorance. It has to have self-chasing thought. That's what mind is. So if there's mind exists, it has to be like that. Self-chasing thought, attachment, all that things. So you see, because there's no story in the West known, scientifically known, is a Buddha. Totally free mind is totally free, totally pure from the ignorance and attachment. So there's no scientific, there's no story. Buddha or even Arhat, even not Buddha, even just lower Arhat who are free from not free from as a Arhat, not free from subtle disturbing thought, but free from gross disturbing thought, disturbing obscuration. So ignorance and attachment. So the pride, just mind is so doubt also. So five three parts of the mind, or five the six root religion, or 22nd religion. Whose mind is free from delusion and karma. So that's not excellent science and so far. But in the future maybe, but so far not known that yet. So, so the yes, his son has Dalai Lama with great compassion for I think maybe now 20 years, I'm not sure. So it's always meeting with the science and Buddhist explanation. From Buddha, the Pandits, the explanation was about mind, especially either from Buddhist side explaining all the clarity of the different thoughts, and then the science, the expert side is explained from the Devana side was to discussion for 20 years or something like that. So it has been progress so much. The Western scientists, they come to learn the Buddhism depth, about mind and depth. Come to learn, come to discover depth, deeper, about mind. So things like that. So that helped very much, and helped Buddhism in those Western festivals with a high level of education and science. Then Buddhism, depth of Buddhism is clarity about the mind, especially. Then able to convey or put them able to check, research, you see. So now many see the valuable knowledge of the mind, and so which didn't have before. So now, so it helped very much to develop the Western science. So there were also then from Tibetan side, those geshes or those who have done great study, much knowledge, so also learn the Western science, or the Western way of explaining. So things like that, each other. I don't think it's understanding deeper or not. Just to know that it's like that. So that not deeper as Buddhist expression, and it's not like that, but it's no intent. So some other should explain Lama Tsongkhapa. So the first thing is purify the defilement, the obstacle, the defilement of the mind is purify. Then collect merit, the cause of so there's Vajrasattva and so forth. There's many practices for purification there. Many practices for purification. There's a Vajrasattva procession by Dhruva Buddha. So Lama Tsongkhapa, by having done many 100,000 processions by Dhruva Buddha, then rainfall, so realizations happen like rainfall so easily. So like that. So the lineage through Lama Tsongkhapa, it's a lamas, the everyday prostration is one of the preliminary practice. Prostration is got to very, very important to they do 100 prostration daily, or 1,000 prostration daily, or 500 prostration daily. So so that even we're old age, but still do prostration. So this is very, very, very important. Not only that, there's many different practice purification out there. But you see the most important main point. Most important is the pleasing the Guru. There are many practices purification, but if you put alter that, the main practice is best purification, purifying all the developments and the quality from beginners, but all that is fulfilling Guru's wishes and advice. Guru's wishes and advice. Then making Guru's holy mind the most happy, or then that is the greatest purification, holy merit. That is the very essence. And the essence is that. So if you want to know what is the essence, what is the best among all the practice of, as well as collective merit, necessary cause to understand Dharma, to understand the words, meanings, and to realize what is said in the text, to have realization. The text is what is mentioned there, to have it in your heart, not always in the paper. What the paper is written there, then you have it in the heart. You have it through meditation, you have it in the heart. So lamrim in your heart, not always in the paper, not also in the text. So that, and then to the tantra, then on tantra part in your heart, what is said there. So that's how you achieve enlightenment. So there's many practices, such as mandala offering, such short time, the collecting unconceivable merit, so many. But again, the highest one is of fallen gurus who wishes and advice, making the most happy guru, or that is that is, you have to know that there's so many thousands, so many practices, but there's the essence, the highest, the main method, the collect merit, exchange merit, what you are physically close to your guru, or you are far, either you're on the moon, or either you're on moon planets, on the moon, or you are into the deepest ocean, wherever you are. And so, following Guru's advice and wishes, then the Kaswaran begin. It's the most happy, great happiness. You have to come to know the very essence. See in your life, even though there are many practices to do, but you see, there are many practices to do. You're doing day and night, but then part of the Guru devotion, not part of the Guru devotion as practices big mistakes, and you don't like certain number of gurus you have. You don't like certain gurus. Maybe those who scold you, who talks about your problems, who talks about your mistakes, who talks, because what you expect is only your self-chasing thought, to be happy, not your bodhicitta, but your self-chasing thought, negative thought, your attachment to be happy. So that's very, you see, attachment, what you want to hear, or self-chasing, what you want to hear, something praise, you are a good person, you are a very kind person, blah, 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 like that. You see, some nice things. So then, you see, then who don't say that, and who scold you, who beat you, and then, however, who does completely opposite to what your self-chasing or what your attachment want. So see, then if you don't like those gurus talks about your mistakes, you don't like, or you like guru only praise you, only praise to you, only being and say nice things, be kind to you, and give things. Also, not like that. And anyway, what I'm saying, I'm getting lost. Then you see the part you never think of that, but you see, you don't change the root of the path to enlightenment. You don't do anything. The Guru devotion, you don't do anything. The mistakes, from the Guru, the mistakes, you don't do anything. Then another hand, you remain in practice day and night. Then you see that as a. So he said, Guya Samaja, or I don't know. There's a quotation that is even you are practicing high Tantra, Mahayana Tantra, day and night, so intense work. But then you see, Rudrabhat saying that you remember this never change. He never paid attention to that. Then part of the Guru is that you had anger, and said the Gurus don't like it, and then so you never change. You have still the same, but another hand to do many practice. So that negative karma is so heavy, very heavy. So it's like you practice Tantra, but you're practicing Kasuri. Because that karma is so heavy, then because even practicing Tantra, that could become cause of lordship, become cause of reincarnation. The hell hunger was animalism. So become like that. So there's a quotation which I don't remember. So like that, unbelievable heavy negative karma. So even the practice, Tantra subject was it. You see, that karma, negative karma is so heavy that it become cause of the. That's why even you practice Havirasana, but it become cause of lordship. So like that, I think the Guya Samaja, from Guya Samaja, quotation that. Because if I find that so that because it's heavy, but so that that doesn't change, because without change that, whatever you do, then change the even practice and cause a lot of so that's so maybe it might take time to understand that. So anyway, what I'm saying, like that you see, so if you mistake following the Guru's version, and then you with great effort to practice Tantra, with great effort, even you practice with much effort for Tantra, so it's like achieving health. So achieving health. So become like that. Even outline, there's eight shortcomings of make a mistake in the following of the Guru. So there's one outline like this. Besides the quotation from Guya Samaja, I think so because it's heavy, you have to understand what really it is. Then the root of the path to enlightenment, even from the title, you can understand how the most important thing to have a realization of the whole path to enlightenment. Ordinary beings realization, then exalted being Arya beings realization, then the enlightenment. To complete all everything depends on the correct following the word friend. So how it's depend on that, everything. So even from the title you can understand how that important is the most important practice. So then this much as we hear this time. Purifying the obstacle department, and then second next one is the collecting the cause, the virtue. So again, what there are many practices, not only mandala working, but most important thing you want to know, there's the one thing is that following the Guru's advice and wishes, and then make him, if you can make the Guru most happy. That sounds like for people who don't know, might look a little bit strange. If you think in a negative way, it might look a little bit strange, kind of, if you don't know, you see, might appear a kind of, I don't know how to say, anyway, doesn't matter. So, like that. If I speak frankly, is that so then now then next one is one pointedly making a request to Guru. One pointedly making a request to the Guru. To receive blessings in your heart, blessings of the path to enlightenment, realizations of path to enlightenment, blessings to understand Dharma, what's meanings, then to realize the meaning, to have in your heart. So one punctually means looking with the Buddha with the quotations on the reasonings. Then by looking at the Buddha one punctually, not without preparing the mind, by looking at, then you make one punch. The request with the devotion. That's that. Or the person. So then, through the request, then you receive blessing. The blessing is like rain. It's in your heart, like the field of where the plants grow, gardens. Also receive like blessings like rainfall. You see. Then the plant, after the seed of the plant will then grow. You see, from the field of your heart, the realizations come. That is number third. Fourth is then actual body meditating on the path. Also the actual body. So I want to meditate. Doing only the even it's correct meditation, but only meditation, doing nothing, then meditating not enough. Many people think just meditating that you're able to say it's not enlightenment or whatever the goal is that you can able to achieve. I mean, liberation from samsara, whatever, able to achieve. Just meditation, but not enough. That's not enough. They do not understand how to practice Lamrim, how to go to enlightenment. No idea how to go to enlightenment. No idea how to be free from samsara. No idea. So you need all that. You need purification. the obstacle, then the karma obstacle, then also the collective cause, the merit for receiving realization under Dharma, understand Dharma, what it means, then able to practice realization. Then one pointedly request the Guru with the devotion to receive blessing in your heart, then realization comes. So as I mentioned, more and more you clean the mirror, reflection comes. Because it has power. It has that power. So it gives more and more reflection, all of that. So comes from your heart, from the mind. All of that. Then the last report of the meditation. So I just want to tell you, Kadamba Geshe Tolboa said, some things you think that you for hundreds of years you want to achieve realization. Like for example, bodhicitta, your mind is so selfish, You can't think of life without a selfish mind. It's only cherishing others. You don't know. Your mind is not like that. So selfish. So third person mind attachment to them. So how is possible that the mind to be free from ignorance and attachment? Free from delusions, free from self-chasing thought and the bodhicitta, how that is possible. So you might think it might take 100 years, but if you correctly practice, or let the Madhuri explain, if you correctly practice with all the support, purification, clearing merit all together, one point question to the Guru, so that together, didn't happen. Then says Geshe Tolboa says, what did you expect? We only get to realization of 100 years. But if you correctly practice, it happens. Mind changes within 7 years. Mind changes, into bodhicitta, from a selfish mind into cherishing other bodhicitta, realizing emptiness of the mind changes within 7 years, which you don't expect. Would you take 100 years? It will take, impossible. But if you quite practice, 7 years is example, an idea, example, but that means basically 7 years. But 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, depends on the person. So mind can change from here to change bodhicitta. So then this is the door of the mind, the path to enlightenment. You are mostly bodhicitta. It's the door of the mind, the path to enlightenment. Like that, realizing emptiness, then how you can become free from samsara, oceans of samsara suffering, oceans of hell suffering, oceans of hunger, oceans of animal suffering, oceans of human beings, oceans of asura, intimate suffering, by freeing from delusion, karma, cause of suffering, all the So if you correctly practice, mind can change in short time, within some number of years. So I'm saying in the West, especially scientifically, there's no those things about experience of mind. Those not mentioned. Not known yet, not found out yet. So like this, but you see, so the Kasuri, so in the reality like this. So what I'm saying, so the So after going to do the prayer, the short on a three, short prayer to the Guru. For us to have the realization, mind to get blessed, and then to have the realization. So, third one is this second one is first one Pandasara Lama. Then I think second one is Guru Shakyamuni Buddha's Pundo Gelech Vetumbikum Thayadu Revakumas Pundo Gelech Vetumbikum, who is holy body, is created. I mean, resulted created by 10 millions of virtues of goodness, perfect virtues of goodness, and then the holy body like that, and then the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit that fulfills all the sentient beings' wishes. Limitless and numberless sentient beings, transmigratory beings. The fulfill their wishes, their hopes. So even one word, as I said before, last Esther or other times, also Holy Spirit will fulfill numberless sentient beings' wishes, hopes, the Holy Mind, knowing directly in every single phenomena. Every single phenomena to be known. Past, present, future at the same time. At the same time. Teaching means exactly, directly perceiving as it is. Teaching as it is, as that is. Every single phenomena that which object to be known. That's praise to the Buddha's holy mind. Holy body has been to the men, Shakya's caste, Shakya in India, because of the Nepal caste, men caste Shakya. Tell us what Buddha has taken the Shakya total principle, and then I make the question. So that question, that is to ask him to bless the true realization from beginning with the path of enlightenment. So and then the third one, his son Lama, is my root guru. I have 29 gurus, something like that. And his son is one of the root guru. Root guru. The other one is deputy chairman, but his son Dalai Lama's guru. Dalai Lama's guru. Yeah, so deputy chairman, but that's my root guru, from whom I received the teachings of the Lamrim Liberation Farmer in your hand in the India, Varanasi. So yeah, that and then the Sandarama, so that Guru. So yeah, so then the praise to that. You have the English. Can you read the English? No. Who?
You who have control over
Yeah.
Hero Manjushri's speech with a fine mind and transcendental wisdom, upholding the victorious one's teachings. Deep as the ocean, Savior conquering the three levels of existence, to you, incomparable one, Jampal Ngawang Losan Yeshe Tenzin Gyatso, I make request.
So you have to, when I chant, sometimes it doesn't go prayers. And when I do kuri, it goes, but when I chant, it stops. So, so you have to say it out loudly. Sports. Yeah, okay. So
so darsa se so wonder good so mame te la so Foundation of all good qualities. The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and perfect Guru. Correctly following the Guru is the root of the path. Applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon the Guru with great respect. When I have discovered that the precious freedom of once is extremely difficult to find again and is greatly meaningful, please bless me to unceasingly generate the mind, taking its essence day and night. This body and life are changing like a water bubble. Remember how quickly they perish and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of black and white karma follow. When I have found definite conviction in this, please bless me always to be conscientious in abandoning even the slightest collection of shortcomings and in accomplishing all virtuous deeds. When I have recognized the shortcomings of samsaric perfections, there is no satisfaction in enjoying them. They are the door to all suffering, and they cannot be trusted. Please bless me to generate a strong wish for the bliss of liberation. Through my being led by this pure thought, with great remembrance, alertness, and conscientiousness, please bless me to make me the root of all teachings, my essential practice. Just as I have fallen into the sea of samsara, so have all mother transmigratory beings. By saying this, please bless me to train in Supreme Bodhicitta, which bears the responsibility of freeing transmigratory beings. Even if I develop only Bodhicitta, without familiarizing myself with the three types of morality, I cannot achieve enlightenment. By seeing this well, please bless me to keep the vow of the sons of the victorious ones with fervent effort. By my having pacified distractions to wrong objects and correctly analyze the meaning of reality, please bless me to quickly generate within my mind stream the unified path of calm, abiding, and special insight. When I have become the suitable vessel by training in the common path, please bless me to immediately enter the holy gateway of the fortunate ones, supreme of all vehicles of Vajra. At that time, the basis of accomplishing the two attainments is keeping my vows and samayas purely. When I have gained effortless conviction in this, please bless me to protect even at the cost of my life. Then, when I have realized exactly the vital points of the two stages, the essence of the tantric sets, and I'm enjoying the yoga of a full session without being distracted by the non-meditation objects, please bless me to accomplish these according to the teachings of the holy beings. Thus may the virtuous friends who reveal the noble path and the spiritual practitioners who practice, please bless me to pacify completely the collection of outer and inner obstacles. In all my lives, never separated from perfect gurus, may I enjoy the magnificent Dharma, and by completing the qualities of the grounds and paths, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara.
she was no good in the person I'm doing the contact that I've done about the such again the chata.
Sarship Shoshin Metortram Rera Lama
Time boy
Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniyatayami
Sangye Chota
Chonam La Chancho Duvasho
Sangye
Chodan Soge Chonam La Chancho Pardo Dani Kepsoch Dage Chenyen Gibe Sonam Ye Dola Penche Sangye Duvasho Sangye Chodan Soge
Chonam La
Chancho Pardo Dani Kepsoch
Dage
Chenyen Gibe Sonam Ye Dola Penche Sangye Duvasho
So, as I mentioned the other day, I want to clarify again, very, very important. Yes, I was talking about it's very important in our daily life. Very important. You want happy. You don't want suffering. Yes, that's known. Even ants, even the tiniest insects, they want. So there is something touch, something not good, then they become crazy. So anyway, so that's known. Yes, that's nothing new, and that's known. Yeah. But you see now, how to do that? How to do that? In a simple way, how to achieve that? How to avoid suffering you don't like? How to achieve happiness that you like? You know. So that's a very important question. Yeah. How to do that? How to do that? People doing billion, zillion things to achieve happiness, and you see all kinds of things. Come out of airplane, then the people Rakso, but they hold a hand around, and sometimes they drop out, sometimes they drop down. So all the happiness, they do anything. I think that I saw many years ago bullets. Use bullets. Person, the bullet, and go to another. But there's a break. There's a hill. There's a ground break. Then hit the other side. And so, but all kinds. They will tie the wings, and then you go all like that. You see, or I don't know what you call. Nowadays, maybe there is. So then nowadays you wear something, then very high, I don't know what you call it. From there, then you jump. So many stories as precipice, jump, then go down, then go from where you need to land. But then people do all kinds, ways to whatever you think is method to achieve happiness. So just anything, in the world. All kinds. Anyway, so yeah, this that we need to pay 100% attention, mindfulness, everyday life. So I want to say this first. So that you can see very logical. You can see the very logical so how important it is. Yeah. So. Even in your family, in your family, you see, because even if, but you go anywhere in the world. You go anywhere in the world. So anybody, neighbor, anybody. So you see, even animals, the happiness, the people, and all that, whomever you meet. Their happiness now, it's in your hand. It's in your hand, depending on how you act. With the body, speech, mind. To be kind, to be peaceful. in action with the body, speech, mind. It's like that. So, peaceful, not rough, peaceful, pleasant. It's your body, speech, mind. Or to people, anybody. They happens right away. It depends on you. How you acting. You see, be clear. This band, this is faith, and this. You can see, very clear. Their happiness depends to you. Yeah, very clear. Your family, neighbor, anybody. Even animals. So the happiness depends to you. How you treat them. It's very clear. So you have to choose, that you have responsibility for their happiness. Not only that you have responsibility for your happiness. Yes, that is your happiness. Causing happiness to others is causing happiness to yourself. I said before, one action, two success. Success, your happiness for yourself, successful happiness for others. One working for others, one action. Remember, one true Buddhist avatar quotation. Only once you don't change the mind, self-change thought, there's no enlightenment, even while you're in samsara. You see, don't speak about the future life. Justice. The servants don't listen to you, don't listen to, don't listen to you. Or servants don't work for you. Servants don't work for you. Your boss, Japan leader, your boss, don't give you money. So, like that, works of this life, you won't get succeed. If you don't change your mind. That's a Buddhist, great Bodhisattva. So they said. So I told about in India, this Malaysia, rich Indian man family I mentioned. So what he said. Yes, everything's okay, but the servant is over there, was problem. But I don't remember, I don't think I replied well. The meaning is self-changing thought. Problem from the self-changing thought. You see, his mind. You can bring his mind. Self-changing thought. Sorry, I'm supposed to bring a text by heart. But since there was a word, so in the past is also in the past, so karma happened. So what you what you badly treated to others, then the result of this, what servants, they don't help you, they don't work for you. But servants don't work for you. What's the result of your past karma? Then you didn't help others. So that, and also even now, the self-change result. So that you see, I mentioned this. So even your president, king or whatever, leader of them, their populations do not listen to you. They protest to you. yeah, don't listen to that the result of past karma. You treated, you harmed others in the past. So as a result, then they harmed you this life. As a result of that. So also depend on your present motivation, self-direction thought. Oh, so they harmed you. Also. You see, if they, for example, I told you already, somebody who's angry to you, somebody who harm you, but you practice patience, then you see because you see the benefits of patience, practice patience, then you complete the parameters of patience, and then your anger nowhere after. Impossible to rise anger. It works in that way. By practice patience, then after some time, anger do not rise at all. And then there is a complete parameter of patience, and also parameters of other the charity and the patience, the perseverance, other. The morality, all those others also able to complete them. Anyway, the specify the complete specify the development and the growth subtle, then complete the the merits of wisdom, merits of virtue, and then then it will be able to achieve the Buddha's holy mind and Buddha's holy body, Rupakaya and Dharmakaya, so to benefit, to do perfect work for the sentient. So, so you're able to achieving the total cessation of obscuration and the completion of realization. Yes, the holy body, holy spirit mind is a quality like sky. So you achieve this. You achieve this from him. So by present patience, then he gives you all this. He gives all this realization. Then enlightenment. Then you're able to liberate number sentiments from the lower realm, from the oceans of samsara suffering, and even from raw nirvana, able to bring them to enlightenment. All these benefits you get from him. He gives you all these benefits to you. So most kind. So most kind. Even Buddha Dhamma Sangha, you always have to repeat to people in lower realm, people Ucha Samsara, from people lower Nirvana, the achieving enlightenment, all that. The even Buddha Dhamma Sangha come from him. So most precious, most kind. So you see very powerful. Even though he has anger harming you, but you from your side you see the most precious, unbelievable. It's kind of like limitless sky. So like that, you see. So even though the sentient being is continuous harming, but from your side you see most positive, most kindness, precious. So you see, like that similar with the bodhicitta. Similar with the bodhicitta, somebody who's harming you, harm you with the speech mind, but you see that person most precious, which unbelievable. Even Buddha Dhamma Sangha come from that. So precious. So you see, if you have money, then you can do so many things. What do you want? Happiness for your happiness of life. You can get. If you have money, you can get whatever you want. So the money is got very precious. The field is got very precious because from that you get crops and you can live life and many things. So that's why field is regarded very precious. So now that's nothing, but now the sentence so most precious from where Buddha, nowadays Buddha Dharma Sangha come from, so precious. Also, you see, even though the person's side, the other person's side, angry or harm, but you are from their side, so possible. So, yeah, so like that, you see. I mean, there's also like that. Anyway, so so you see, so we should write down in your prayer book, in your diarrhea book. You see that. Make sure to remind you every day. So, starting from your family, all the whole rest of the world, human being, animal, everything. See, happiness right now. What the happiness now depends on you, how you act in the body, speech, mind. No, you must remember all that. You're responsible. You're responsible. They are suffering. They happen. You're responsible. How you act, how you speak, how you think. To see. By thinking this everyone, every insect, everyone source of my happiness. Past, present, future, after enlightenment, everything come from. So I have a source of number of Dharma Sangha, okay, came from that whom you pray. So watching that, then Kachuri, they're looking at like deity, guru. So that they're or then, but I think that you then see always kind with the body, spirit, mind is kind. So a pleasant action of the body is respect, with physical respect and kind. Even for the animals, respect, kind. So, starting from your parents, from your wife, from your husband, from your children, starting from that. So to everybody, towards everyone, so like that. Poor, rich, educated, uneducated, anything. Oh, respect. For example, His Holiness Dalai Lama. Yeah, respect to poor, rich, educated, uneducated, poor, anyone he respects. Oh, His Holiness who himself enlightened, not only who has a great quality scholar, great quality, not just enlightened. But you see, but outside any respect to anybody. So one time Bhattacharya we requested to give teachings on Bodhisattva, so His Holiness came. I think the Nobel Peace Prize, maybe after that, I don't know. So His Holiness kept it in the tent. So then we hold the incense, His Holiness to receive it into Bombay, and then so His Holiness Geshe Tenje, of course, all the Geshe from Tibet, and of course, I'm nothing, but His Holiness respect, but I'm nothing, so to respect, you see. So like that, but His Holiness to anybody, you see, that's a good example. Well, with that another story I mentioned in the course of the past, but so Lama Yeshe, who took care of me so many years, and from after I came from Tibet and Baksa, then after that, so kept on the FMD started by Lama, they organized it. So Lama was there, then there was an old monk there, old Tibetan monk there. So there was some complaint Lama received. He had some, I think, some problem there. So, maybe paralysis, I'm not sure. So anyway, the one nun, one was an American nun, doing massage or something. So then I think then she complained to Lama, some wrong man or he did something. Then the next day, this monk was, this old monk was coming up. I think we are going to see His Holiness or a little bit His Holiness, something like that. But the monk was coming up. So the Lama, the monk was lung, not lung. His mind was very disturbed and his face changed. Lung. So very unhappy face, very disturbed face. But the mind is face is a reflection of the mind. So he was like that coming up. But Lama, he heard the complaints, but the Lama did, he bended his neck, he did like this to the monk. He didn't go like this, oh, you're bad, I'm good, he didn't do that. You may think like this, no, not at all. Oh, it's bad, I'm good, no. So Lama bended his head like this, with a peaceful face, bended like this, he didn't like that. Lama bended his head like that, you see? Oh, that's that respect. Oh, that is learned holy beings. Learned beings, quality. Learned beings. If you're learned, you're wise, then this is what you should do. Humbleness. You don't say, oh, I'm a girl. No, like that. So you're humble. You are learned, you're humble. You understand? The Lama wrote in his notebook, after he passed away, I came back here, on the table, there's a notebook, and there it says, if you are unwise, then you should be humble. They wrote like that. So Lama did like that. when he said in very sweet face, that. So see, the one got it was a long, you know, because he knew that reporter Lama, and, you know, so he got very face became very, how to say, I don't know how to say, when you have long, then our face from always to nice face, you know. So it came up, yeah. This is so, that's a very good example. Oh, you understand what Lama did? Oh, like that. So it is said in the Lama, this is teaching advice. You know, you don't talk about your quality. You announce in the world how you have, even your quality, I don't know. In case even you have to have a little quality, but in-house in the world, even if you don't have, you have the in-house in the world, not only Western country, you know, but in-house in the world, you have the quality you have. So then somebody's mistake, then you in-house the world, and so like that. So anyway. In Lamadachas, all those great, you know, realized beings, or the enlightened beings, or the advice is you spread out, yes, you explode your mistakes, you hide your quality, you explode your mistakes. Then others, even your enemy, you explode their quality. Even if it is your enemy, you explode their quality. Don't talk about mistakes, talk about good qualities. Even if it is your enemy, talk about good qualities. Explode their qualities. Oh, that's the practice. That's the practice of what's meant by Lama Adisha. That's the essence of what Buddha said. Oh yeah, so like that. So that's for your practice, for your practice, for your practice. But if you're running country, if you're responsibility of many people, if you are running country, then you see, depends on how important it is. It depends, but everything you do out of compassion. But if you're in a country or you're working for many people, then the people will now talking about your practice. Then now you're leading many people are running country or many people. Then that time then out of compassion, then the Kasvare. What you have to explain the person's mistakes, or what is something to help the majority people, or things like that. That's different. That's a little bit is a practice. Then change over there, but still the compassion is same. Out of compassion is same. No harm, no thought of harm to others at all. So the motivation is same. So when you run the country, when you run you see that the changes. So that. I'll give an example of how it is on that. So it's okay. So basically, respect. Be kind to others, pleasant action, kind, pleasant action about it. You understand? To human beings, animals, okay? Then speech, sweet speech, or praising, or nice and praising on unrefused word. When the person who speaks Tibetan You see, say another word. I'm just using myself so happy, then the person doesn't speak another word, just bare words, and then not so much, but another words, you see. So you say another words, praise, nice words, sweet words to others. To others, the speech and kind words, not rude words, the kind of words. So, as somebody does to you, when somebody does to you, knowing an unknowing person, makes you so happy. So similar, when you do that to others, bring so much happiness, makes so much happy, starting from your home, all the rest, wherever you go, any human being, any animal. Animal. Even for the animal, you may have a rude sound, which they don't like it. So, dogs, they get threatened and they run away. So anyway, so the mind, see, the Bodhisattva explained, if you see people, you smile. The other day I talked about political smile. False smile, you see, not from the heart. This here I'm talking about the heart, from the heart smile. So if you smile, you see the person, then it creates cause. It creates cause, good karma. Next lives, next life, not only one, many next lives. You to be born a very beautiful person, very beautiful, very beautiful body. It creates cause for to be born a very beautiful body in next lives. Many lives, next lives. So there's temporary benefit. Then if you do the Bodhisattva, sincerely from the heart to the sentient being, or the Bodhisattva, then you bring cause of enlightenment, to achieve enlightenment for you, or for all the sentient beings, and for all the sentient beings to achieve enlightenment. Okay? So smile from the heart. You smile by thinking kindness of the person, how precious, and all that, as I mentioned before, then you smile. Then you smell somebody smell from the heart, then you see, then you create good karma in the future lives. Then you have a very, very beautiful body. So beautiful body, so that like those Lama Atisha, I don't know, Lama Atisha, so many great holy beings, and they are born the king's life, and the very beautiful body, and so that it draws many sentient beings easy. It draws many sentient beings. Then they, by revealing Dharma, they bring the path to enlightenment. So then you can help them. All like that. So yeah. So even smiling has the benefit. Good karma like that from the heart, doing that, not political, but not political smile, but from the heart, okay? The compassion, the loving kindness, thinking they're so precious, kind also, like that. Then the mind is also look at the mind with loving kindness, compassion, like that, as I mentioned before. Incredible. Always want to help. Whatever you can do, whatever there is need to help, then you kind of run to help that. So like that is even small help. So your body's every day, your body's mind is how how your mind think of others, how you think of with your self-chasing thought, anger, etc. Different. You see how you act, how to act with this people different. Anger, unpleasant. Beautiful body. You have beautiful body, but when you get angry, I know from my experience, somebody who has a beautiful body but angry, the beauty is no longer beautiful. When there's an angry mind, no beauty is an object of fear. It's the object of your fear. Your fear, you get frightened. No longer beauty. It is rather beauty. Do you understand? This is my experience. So, so like that, Kasparich. So remember, please remember, or write down. So every day, wherever you go, home, in the world, those sentient beings who meet, if you don't speak, meet, depends how you behave, what is mind, kind, peaceful, brings so much happiness to them. Even you don't speak, you smile to somebody. Somebody whose mind, the depressed, like that, you see. My happiness, I want to suffer. So you smile, or somebody whom you don't, the person doesn't know you, you don't know the person, but you smile. That relieves the person from depression. His person is so happy that somebody smiling at you. You understand? Like that. I think he still said to, he always smiled, and I don't remember exactly. He always smiled, but I forgot. To everybody he smiled. You remember? Yeah, he said, listen. So anyway, so I stopped with drinking tea. So now listen, before I start with tea. LNB, one director, she very impatient, with people. She doesn't know that. So people, angry. Then they say, the anger, then whole body, spirit, mind, it will changes its action, violent, and scold. So many people, bad feeling of the director. So like that is then we hear complaint, and so many people even though directors are able to accomplish project or things, but when the daily life people not kind. So special center, so important, most important this quality, to know the pressure, kindness, presence, self-centeredness. Then he said that's the most important quality there in prayer practice as well as the center to benefit center. But then you see then your whole body, spirit, mind, kind, pleasant, so sweet, so important. So what your practice, you meditate on bodhicitta. I don't know, few minutes bodhicitta. But then when you leave the office, when you go for work, nothing. Bodhicitta is far. You're very far from bodhicitta. Bodhicitta is in Tibet or maybe another world. Bodhicitta is another world. You are another world. All the rest of the day when you deal with people, family, it's something else. You're something else. Not like that. Bodhicitta has to be there all 24 hours. especially with the people, with animals. So anyway, so this problem happens. And I'm just giving this one example. There's not only center, but mentioned. You see, it's very important practice. Not only for your practice, but for the center, for the organization that you're running. So very important. So that is very important. Not only that, in the country, in the world, very important. So everyone's happiness depends on you. Right now, their happiness depends on you. How you act. So there's Kasare. So I wrote a long letter to her, how to practice in daily life. So most important was to be practice kindness person. So that's so important. Yeah. Okay. So the bodhicitta practice is most important. If you're born a human being, then you should practice bodhicitta. That's the best purpose of life. Okay. So thank you very much.
Oma ahu, Lama Sangye Lama Chöte She Lama Gendunde Gongye Che Boy Lama De Lama Nam La Chöwambul.
$15 years. If you are meditating, then you should be kind to people. I meditate, meditating, but then with the people so bad, so angry, and they harm, then that's so selfish and rude and all that. That creates a much heavy negative karma every day. Okay. Then if you are really meditating Dharma, holy Dharma, really meditating, then you should be kind to people. You should be serving people, serving the sentient beings. Yes, you should be servant to sentient beings. Sentient beings are God. So like that, you see, like Lama said, because look at the last Guru and deity, that you are deity. You made my offering and always offering praise, so like that. Yeah, so see. So bodhisattvas, they happiness, they greatest happiness is to be slave for the sentient beings, to be slave for the happiness of the sentient beings. That's totally the opposite to all your life activity. All your life, others become your slave. Others become your slave for your happiness, for your power. So it's like democracy. Don't democracy, sorry. Dictatorship or that. You see? the old activity, old what how the country the world. So Dharma, see, practice the mind now. Oh, you become you. Bodhisattvas, they want the most happy to be slave, bring happiness to others. That is it. So Bodhisattvas, whatever brings happiness to the children, slave for that is like their limbs to use. You become like their limbs to obtain happiness for them. Oh, just certain thing you see. Good. There's a rich Indian family in Hong Kong. Rich Indian family. The name is what's the name? Rich Indian family. I forgot it. What about the daughter's name? I mean, his name's Oprah or Obi's wife. Obi's wife's name. Then you get the idea of the family name from there. And a rich Indian family in Hong Kong. So the mother and the father, the mother especially, I think every month or I don't know, comes to India quite often, and they have a Swami Guru, Swami, one Guru. Swami, one Guru. So they come to see almost every month or something from Hong Kong, and she brings also many blankets to offer to the sadhus. I think Patna, not Patna, Pune, maybe somewhere there, near Bombay or something. So she gives sadhus, and she comes to get advice from the Guru, Swami. It's very good Swami, very good Swami, sincere Dharma practitioner, sincere Dharma practitioner, Swami. So Swami, one time he's going to die. So he's been praying all his life to Vishnu and Krishna, Vishnu, Shiva, all this. He's been praying whole life. So he's been praying for life. Then when he was dying, nobody came. He called him, nobody came. Then all the disciples from the far, they circumambulate. They go around. He's in the center. They go around him. All the disciples. So he called him. Nobody came. That time. So then he completely, his mind totally changed. Then I think he had some Dharma boost. I think he had some minor teachings. Bodhisattva's activity, minor teaching, looks like, I don't know it. So then he became Buddhist. Because nobody came when he needed. He'd been praying all his life. So since from that time, he became Buddhist. Rely on Dharma Sangha. Then I don't know what book had it, mind the teaching or something, but this Sabbath's attitude at the Buddhism. So he never let anybody to. Sorry, I didn't bring the text, but I remember I had. He never let anybody to work for him. before his disciples helping for him, working for him, but now he did not want anybody to work for him. He does everything by himself since he became Buddhist. Total change between him. So he doesn't let anybody to be servant for him. Ideas. He doesn't want anybody to be servant for him. That's a renunciation. He do everything by himself. He didn't die. So he didn't die. So because that, so then he told the rich family to become Buddhist after that. Then he became, otherwise he goes to Hindu temple every week or something. But he becomes less and less and less and less. He keeps straight because he always meditated, so always his straight. His backside is always straight. He's very good sadhu. Pivadharma Krishna, really. Pivadharma Krishna, I think he has no attachment to this, to the usual, to the usual objects, no attachment. Total renouncement. Women's, he don't let them to prostrate nearby. Women's prostrate from him quite far. Yeah, so like that. So very. So when the benefit from or the rich people they come to see him, then he makes food. Or normal he makes food, but that's sattva. Very good sattva. So then he told him become Buddhist. And that's how when the Lama also, my teacher Lama Ichi, reincarnated to Spain, his student, symbol, the student, there's several children, boy and girls. The mother's name, how I found out the mother is particularly is one boy from Canada. He's incarnated Lama or incarnated Lama, or husband or wife, both of us in Canada. He is the incarnation of one great Geshe. Like great Geshe, we never wear shoes in the monastery because of cold, and very totally renounced his life. Never touched the money, his hand with the money. So if the money offering met in the monastery, he received like this. His holy body was kept, and from here a plant grew. Like kind of sort of so Genjatse. So this was found out is because child is able to remember the past life. So then Genjatse, very famous learned teacher in the cemetery. Then the abbot of a very famous abbot of Devon Monastery came. Then some of that, that found out. Anyway, he came to Bajapani, and the Lama's holy body over fire, and kept the pot on this ashes until 7 days. Then opened. With the puja at that time, that the Lama says not born for Semata nor Chile. He came. He was there to bring puja with us. So there was this Lama, incarnate Lama from Canada. So he saw in the sky clouds, many clouds, all riding, Tibetan riding. many Tibetan writings in the sky. So he saw Maria's name there. So that's how I got. That's how I found out the name. The Lama was also mother. The Lama is whom the Lama is reincarnated. But he saw many others didn't pay much attention. So mother's name. So like that. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So reincarnated him to now Lamosa. Yeah, but I forgot the story. While I'm talking, I forgot. Yes, Lamosa came to Hong Kong, the incarnation. So then they came. Hong Kong. Their family, mother came to Hong Kong. Then when I came, then I met him. Then I met many of the family, London, different countries. There is family, so I met many of them. And I went their house to have a dinner. So night time, I talk. I don't know. Some hours, I'm not sure what. The food was late. Food was what time? It was quite late. There were many relatives. The husband, the father, so many. When we eat lunch, so many. Dinner was so late. Anyway, so that's our older family in London who met. So come to know like that. So this is the teacher is the Swami. The Swami proved himself. But he changed himself, by himself, was it? Like that. So I think, maybe that much. So today my talk is very serious. Look, you may think it's very simple, but not simple at all. It's very, very important. If you want happiness, you don't want suffering. This is what you do. This is what you do with everybody. Starting from home, starting from family. That's if you want happiness, you don't suffer. This is what you do. I said this. This was not only for you happy. No, other people, animals, everyone happiness. That depends to you how you acting. You understand? So guys, I stop here. Okay.
Sashi Bugi Shushin Metotam Rira Linshin Gembadi Sange Shindo Mete Bulwargi Toka Namda Shinla Churvarash Idam Guru Ratna Mandala Kamniya Dayami.
So you see, the motivation is sincere, good heart, virtue thought. It's not political, virtue thought. Not at all Dharma, no! Dharma, holy Dharma, word, your mind, or especially good heart benefit others. So everything being kind, the bodies, everything being Dharma, cause of enlightenment. Everything being cause of enlightenment. What do you do? treating animals, but everything causing that. With thought and breath. Wow. Unbelievable. Your life is so meaningful. Like that. Otherwise, you see, the self-changing thought comes out. Your body's mind, you become a slave, you become a servant to your self-changing thought. Servant, slaves, your self-changing thought. Then crash with everybody, crash, don't agree things and crash, then solve the problem until you die. Whatever work you do in the world, problem everywhere, problem. Like that. Then, see, you can't bring peace, harmonies in your life, in your work with people, since your mind is a selfish mind, since your mind is not subdued, peaceful, since your mind is not peaceful, selfish mind, then all you do, everything is don't agree with others don't have that happy with you. Then solve the problem. You work, you're supposed to work for others. At the beginning you thought, I want to help others. But then, you see, you never take your mind. You never practice Lamrim, if you know. If you heard, never practice Lamrim. Their life, then, no bodhicitta, nothing. Selfish mind, then anger, then you see, then you always encounter with people. Then, so if you are working because you get money or whatever, if you are working, but there's no peace, no peace, happiness in the life with others. So you create a problem to all others. You create a problem, not only yourself or so much, you see. So like that, you die. As soon as you die, sounds like that. So very sad human life. You couldn't bring even peace, happiness in your family. You couldn't bring peace, happiness with your the same workers and the organizers. You can't bring peace, happiness. Only harm, only fight, like that. So very sad life. And so it's all to the mind. How much you take care of your mind. So taking care of the mind, subduing mind, taking care of the mind is the most important. That's Buddhism. Alright. Did all the past, the present, future, marriage, material, marriage, novelist, Buddhas. May the bodhicitta, source of all the happiness and success, include the enlightenment for you, every sentient being, may it be generated in your heart, in the heart of nobles, helping Sangha, God, animals, human beings, and so those who have bodhicitta, may it be developed. Chanjo yasame to rimbo chema je bana je jo je ba nya ba yame ba then to realize ultimate natural emptiness, the meaning into dependent arising, the meaning of the emptiness. So then, okay. Tonye tawa rinpo che maji panama jeju je java nyamba meba konye kondo bewara jo chera kondo jawa tunga tejo chini mozo zebe Yahweh ngakwe langza tinye la keche tsayang doba ma juzi Pande lami nambra taba la keche tsayang loda meje Jinze lepa tongwe mugu lami che la sang la jubara jo Bande lama jigu jindawa kodang kuze zeta shiga cheje chenjo sambo jindawa tenda daso jiwa jo Due to all the past, present, future merits, glory, children merits, glory, numberless and numberless Buddhas. Medicasore, war, famine, disease, all the dangers, and then dangers of the earth, dangers of water, dangers of fire, dangers of wind. May all those problems in the world may be pacified immediately. And may this world filled with the perfect peace, happiness, including enlightenment, by generating loving kindness about each other in everyone's heart. And did all the parts, best and best, merits, glory to my merits, glory to my numberless and numberless Buddhas. May any sentient being who see me, touch me, remember me, think of me, hear my voice, and also may I, any sentient being that I see, hear the voice, remember, touch to them, and so all those, just by that, may the sufferings, may all the sentient beings' sufferings be pacified immediately, and it's a perfect peace, happiness, in all the enlightenment. After them, Thoman to Saman Jesu, Tia, Rogama Tamdo, Java, Tamje, Tia, Mola, Tua, Gushi, and Namagun, Teta, this prayer is very important if you can do daily life. But I mentioned at least two I can remember. There might be others who are not informed to me or I've got. So I do this prayer more or less in the daily life in the past. So So they in Australia, one lady had a dog. The dog was kind of going to die. It was brought to the animal treatment, a bag, how do you say? Bed. Bed. Be the bed. But so the dog was brought to the animal they treat animal. So they all decided the dog will die. So go carry it back to home. So the dog came to home. I mean, she brought it home. But on the post they put my picture. I don't know how they put my picture on the post. The dog sat facing to the cross picture. She says, dog to refuge. But I don't know what the dog should be. That's our connotation. So anyway, but anyway, the dog got better after that. Didn't die. Then I think that or another girl who was heart disease. So came to after I went to Kangaroo Island, so built a Pema Sambhawa, Rathwal Pema stand in the water. Water is a little bit dirty, but Pema Sambhawa and built strippers and slowly develop. And then I was coming back by boat. So lady came see me there to thank to me. But another lady, a daughter. The daughter is heart disease. So then daughter, she gave my portrait to the daughter. Then daughter rapped on her heart like that. So daughter's heart got better. And so she, I don't remember seeing her, and they sent a message to thank her. So this story, what can I remember? But in the far, you see, by praying this, many people in the very far, they get a benefit. They get a benefit from your portrait or from your name. They get a benefit like this. It's actually meant prayer. So very far, see. So like this, so it's very important if you can do prayer like this, so that you can benefit many sentient beings. Okay, so like that. So problem what I have right now to recover from that. So like that, okay, to help. So that's. Due to all the past, the present, future marriage collected by me, future marriage collected by numberless sentient beings and numberless Buddhas. They which appeared real, truly existent, real, from which was I and the known, hold on that is true, 100% true. All this totally false hallucination. So there's no evenness, there's no even the size of atom exists. It's totally empty. So that concept is totally wrong concept, ignorance, and so what exists is what exists. What exists is what exists in the mere name, mere labeled by mind, because of the world base. Then may the I who appear real one from there, all on the real true, which is not there, and which exists is what exists in mere name, merely able to but the valid mind. That's because there's a valid base, the fire aggregate at the moment we have, so that So it's like, so the I is like exists, but it's like doesn't exist. So if you want to see the really how subtle it is, and then what's the I, then it exists. It's not non-existent, it exists, but it's like it doesn't exist. So unbelievable subtle. Achieve that I, achieve the Buddhahood, which do not exist from its own side, which exists in merely by mind. Then lead all the sentient beings who do not exist from their own side, who exist in merely by mind. Because that's the body space existing, which also do not exist from its own side. Same with the label. Then it lead to Buddhahood, which do not exist from its own side, and exists in the mere name, mere level by mind. By mind alone, who do not exist from its own side, who exists in the mere name, mere level by mind. Jambamba Chitra Jimba Takunda Sambo Tiante Chindo Tata Kunje Cheton Daloche Gawa Tita Tamche Rabdu to the Jabe Jawa Tamche Wakala Chutu Nova Yenda Gave Tawati Sambo Chichi Rabdu Nova Inji. Jede Kamandre Pende Amal Limba Kale Sarme So here I want to say, so apparently the old centers, they have been the philosophy like Madhyamika, besides Lamrim, the Madhyamika, those philosophies have been taught much before we were starting master program, basic program. Yeah, those big centers have taught. But the Geshes, those, entrance of philosophy, the extensive commentary of the Lamrim. So you see, in the essence, in the content in the short teaching of the Lamrim. So there's a middle Lamrim, Lama Tsangapa, grey Lamrim, middle Lamrim, then short Lamrim, then three principal aspects, past, enlightenment. So that. So then after that, the Lama Ishi and Geshe Majato, since 1 week here, Kapan, then discuss how to set up a master program. Then after Geshe went to Lama Tsunami Institute, he tasked. Then not immediately, but he started a master program. Then the excellent students from that master program, 8 years, and then master program. Then those students are able to teach philosophy. But before, you see, only Tibetan Geshes teach philosophy. But after that, the Western, those students, those learned students who passed the master program, then they're able to teach philosophy after that. So this happened. Since from that time, then there's been more and more. So teaching philosophy, like the Geshe, like that. So then later I was told by nun, Canadian nun, and the one who taught me political smile. It rolled it down and smile. So she said it's too long and need shorter subject, to like 2-3 years. So we sort of 3 years study, but Geshe said 4 years. And anyway, so after the Geshe's meeting, then in Taiwan they thought need 4 years, and anyway, so basic program. But anyway, after studying quite a number of centers, studying basic program, then they thought it's not basic at all. It's so it has many important subjects. So they thought not basic at all. Then, yeah. So anyway. That's because the nun asked me, so this is too long, the master program, so short one. So then the basic program happened. So then after that, so much study happened in the FMT. The subjects, the Kasuri, philosopher subjects. Then the Kasuri. Except the Vinaya, the lay people, they don't much at all. I mean, the monastery, the sanghas, gelongs, they have years of study, Vinaya, and all that, much to study. So what essence of what I'm saying is FMD has teachings to learn, like rainfall. So much, teachings to learn, to giving teachings like rainfall all the time. So much to see, because we have Geshes 44, 41 less, 41 Geshes. So like that teaches, you see, like teaching like rainfall. So some of the centers. Then just pujas, mostly pujas. When lamas come, to give liberty teaching and then initiations, all like that. So the particular principle like that, philosophy and the Lamrim, essence of Lamrim. So anyway, what I want to tell is generally, overall, look like more compassion generated. And after many years studying Buddhism, then you want to look at all, then most students generated more compassion. So which is so important. Not only here in brain like computer, invest, because so much information in the brain, or not like that. Like computer, you feed whole world the news, you feed in the computer, So you see, something in the heart, you need to hear, not only hear, you need to hear. So the person has to become good human being, otherwise, the purpose is lost. Purpose of being born a human being until one time it's lost. So it's a great loss. And then losing sky filled with the diamond or which grand jewel, or which grand jewel like full of sky lost. Or much greater loss than that. There's nothing greater loss than that. So wasted human life, unable to make meaningful are there. Oh, so this I want to say this. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, good night.
Tenzin kyom pelve kunsu doborze chosom kurvele montuju padaso dulce gondor shapten sho.